Male and female. Everything else is just mental illness. Except, you know who disagrees with you? The various medical organizations around the world that define what mental illness is. Transgender and non-conforming identities are not mental illnesses according to the APA, their published diagnostic manual, the World Health Organization, the NHS, and so on. So I guess what we're really here to do is play another round of conservatives' favorite game, What is a Woman? So I've covered extensively how gender is a social construct, that in order to define what a man and woman is, you need to pick not only a specific period in history, but also a specific culture, because there are near infinite variations of the roles of men and women across them, and it is an ever-moving target. Okay, so social constructs are bad, but you know what doesn't change? Cold hard facts. The detached logic of pure biological science. Science makes it easy to know who's a man or a woman. Right, Ben?
You can dig up the bones of humans, of Homo sapiens, from thousands and thousands of years ago, and you can determine whether they are men or women without asking their gender. It's unbelievable. I know it's very difficult.
Except archaeologists have known for decades there's a problem with identifying skeletal remains. They kept finding more male skeletons than they should, about 12% more. Why? Because biological sex, like gender, exists on a spectrum, and there are a number of ambiguous skeletal remains that were just simply misidentified as male. A 2015 study looked into this more, taking 15 methods that are used to determine skeletal sex and applying it to 20 different skeletal remains. And what they found was not a single remain tested conclusively male or female across all 15 methods. Every single one of them existed on a spectrum, a likelihood of possibility of being either male or female. Okay, so bones are out. Anybody else got any ideas?
Recap of day 1 of 9th grade biology. What's a woman? That's simple. A woman is a human being with 2 X chromosomes. Ask any geneticist. It's detectable in a blood test.
Yes, genetics, chromosomes, XX, XY. Doesn't get any simpler. 8th grade science, baby. Except, if Tucker had actually spoken to a geneticist, they would have told him that, in fact, women can have 1, 2, 3, or more X chromosomes. But those are genetic abnormalities. When we talk about XX and XY, that's your male-female right there. Right? So Maria Jose Martinez Patiño was a Spanish hurdler, who in '83, while competing, took a sex test that proved her femininity. 2 years later, when competing again, she forgot the results of that test and had to take another test, the kind of blood test that Tucker was talking about. When the results came back, they said her chromosomes were XY, male. She was then asked to bow out gracefully and fake an injury and not compete. Maria refused, and in doing so, they made the results of her test public, destroying both her career and her private life. To explain what's going on, a quick biology lesson. We start out sexless, and without the presence of a male hormonal signal, we continue to develop as female. But for half of us, that male hormonal signal is activated, and we begin to, you might want to sit down for this, transition into male instead. Deep breath. You'll be okay. But it can be the case that your body doesn't respond to that androgen signal, and you continue to develop as female. Which is how you can have XY male chromosomes but yet still develop as female with breasts and female genitalia. And the reverse is also true. You can be XX and that gene can activate without the androgen signal, and you go on to develop as a male with male genitalia. So even chromosomes, XX and XY, are no guarantee that that person is male or female. The answer to the question, what is a woman, has always been a complex one with no easy answers, but instead ones that exist along a spectrum. What we do know, with absolute certainty however, is that forcing people into a gender expression that does not align with their gender identity causes harm. Stress, anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideation. So if you really care about mental illness, you'll stop showing up in people's comments with this factually incorrect binary thinking.